Good evening. It is episode 53 of the BIC podcast on this special Festivus edition, or Festivus, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Festivus. I'm going to air some grievances. Eric is generally into the airing of grievances, and Bobbles will probably join us in some airing of grievances too, because why not? It's the holiday spirit. That and more on this episode of the BIC podcast. Yes. So in this wonderful Festivus season, so Eric, we assume that you broke your back losing a test of strength. Otherwise, how's your Festivus coming along?
I passed out on the couch due to the painkillers and muscle relaxers that I was on and missed most of the day.
So he was high on Hal effing Gill after he pulled that sweet hug. He's like, victory.
Yes.
And keeled over. And the next 48 hours, he has no idea what happened. No one does.
Most of the day I sleep on the couch.
It's a valid story. We'll have to see if it holds up to scrutiny. Brandon, how are you?
I'm good. I did not sleep the day away on the couch. I think we got up about 6 a.m. I don't know what time it was. Somewhere in there.
I don't think you have small enough children. What are you doing at 6 a.m. on Christmas? Did you run under the tree to see what Santa got you? What's going on over there?
No, so my daughter is the tiniest little thing, but she's like an old soul, I guess, because it never fails. At approximately somewhere in the midst of 4 a.m. to 4:30 a.m., she likes to wake up and use the bathroom, and I swear, for as small as she is, she sounds like she is going to come through the floor. Yes. And we have yet to figure out what it is because she's not big enough to make that much noise when she's walking.
My daughter is the same way. The teeny tiny little thing. The house shakes. It's because they walk on their heels and they drop their heels into the ground.
We did figure that out.
Balls of their feet.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have taught them all to goose step everywhere they go. Like, I don't know what to do. Double time. The military drills might have been a bit much, gentlemen. Do you think? Wow. Perhaps?
Made sense at the time. You know, you want to have disciplined children.
I'm just saying, I have concerns. And for those of you on the visual side of it, it's like Carlos is enjoying a wonderful Christmas whiskey. We actually are recording this on Christmas. So hopefully you enjoy. Or as I like to call it, familial evasion day, where a lot of people take every opportunity, which is why the NFL has a triple header, which is why any live content is like, oh my God, it's live. It's not pre-recorded. Thank God. Wonderful. Yeah. It's a wonderful thing. But yes, so this episode will be a little bit of a mishmash of different things. So quickly, let me start off with my quick airing of grievances in the Green Bay Packers. And I'll encapsulate it this way. Now, Carlos, you may be sitting yourself saying, Carlos, the Packers won. And they did. They beat the Carolina Panthers by 3 points. Really, what it comes down to, and this would be the way that I would explain it. I listened to a couple of different Packers-related podcasts, as you do, and I have the episodes, and these episodes were released on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So these are the two episodes. These are back-to-back episodes. They have a rotating set of hosts. That's how they have all the episodes in all the different days. First one is Packers win in Carolina despite abominable defense, which is always, a good start. Which is true, and I'll get to that in a second. Second one, Packers postgame. This is after a win. I want to emphasize this. After a victory. Packers postgame. The final straw for Joe Barry? ? Needless to say, they want to get rid of the defensive coordinator, and I can't blame them. Because in consecutive weeks, they made, Baker Mayfield, who's had a nice resurgence, to be fair. The game, the most recent game with Tampa was decent. He had himself a pretty good night. But he had a perfect passer rating against the Packers. A little bit different, a little bit higher tier, if you will. He made Danny DeVito look decent. I know his name is not Danny DeVito, but I will call him Danny DeVito until he can prove to me he can be good with someone that is not the Green Bay Packers defense. And in the most recent game,
today,
they were able to successfully, and I mean successfully, allow the Carolina Panthers to hang in a game where they were winning comfortably, but basically they couldn't stop them. Bryce Young had I think his career game overall in terms of yards. And how do you do that? Well, you play the Green Bay Packers defense, who apparently the defense does not involve actually defending anyone. There is no defense, which kind of glossed over the fact that the offense played pretty good. They're not perfect. They've got a lot of issues. There's a lot of injuries too. But at the same time, it's like, no, they played well enough that game should have been. The point is this. Here's how I'll put it. Eric, the Carolina Panthers scored 30 points in that game. Would you like to know what the season high in points for the 2-win Carolina Panthers is this season?
Sure. Tell me, please.
It was 30 points. It was the 30 points they just scored. They have not gotten to 30 points at any other point during this season, except in this game. And by the way, were it not for the fact that they were not able to spike the football, and they literally ran out of time, they had a chance to kick a field goal that could have taken them to overtime. They could actually have scored 33 points. It's literally they ran out of time. They only had, I think it was 19 seconds, and they were still able to drive to get within field goal range if they had been able to spike the football. That is not defense. That is the opposite of defense. I'm just, and again, they won. This is me, and they won.
You know that it's not a good season when you win a game and you're angry.
It's just inexplicable. They literally don't play defense. So to finish the schedule, I've mentioned this already before. They're going to play the Vikings next. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. They could win by 80. They could lose by 80. They could be a 0-0 tie. They could go to a shootout. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no clue. This season makes no sense.
As one of the primary owners of the Green Bay Packers, which you are.
Yes, of course.
Which is a factual statement that you are.
I am an owner of the Green Bay Packers. That is true.
You are a partial owner of the Green Bay Packers. I would assume you would have some say into what goes on the field. Why aren't you using your ownership chip to right the ship?
So, Eric, it's a valid question. And so far, the other owners have resisted my overtures to utilize Stalinist tactics. My plan originally was to frame them for something and send them to the gulag. So far, they're not, they're listening. Their ears are a lot more open to it than they were earlier in the season. But I haven't quite sold them on the gulag concept. But I feel like if I can send the appropriate people to the gulag, maybe lessons will be learned and beatings will continue until morale improves.
So the Detroit Lions being division champions wasn't enough to get them on board?
They gave up 30 points to a 2-win team. The fact that he's not already been mysteriously vanished should tell you all you need to know. It's not like this is the first time. Did I mention they made Danny DeVito look like a competent quarterback? And he's literally sucked every game since. He is actually trash. He's not any good. No, but he looked really good in that one game.
Yeah.
Now, the only way I would accept this, the only way I'm okay with this, as far as I'm concerned, and I have an idea. I want to give a suggestion to the Minnesota Vikings. And people would be like, well, why would you give a suggestion? I have a wonderful idea. I think what you need to do is you need to put on your roster the chosen Rosen. I think you need to get Josh Rosen on your roster, because after you start him and he throws for 1,800 yards in one game, it might be time to cash out the chosen Rosen PC. At least compensate me for the aggravation. I'm just saying, there's a wonderful way this could be a win-win situation for us all. This could be a wonderful win-win situation.
Home, sitting around doing nothing, right?
What's that?
He's Josh Rosen's just sitting at home doing nothing right now.
If you had paid attention, I think he was with you on the couch when you were passed out. He was just chilling. He was hanging out with you, watching the game.
All right.
Yeah. But I still have confidence that he could certainly put up at least 250 on this defense. I'm confident he could go out there, throw for 250 and 3 touchdowns, and we're back in business, baby. Let's go. So it'll be the Vikings are coming up on New Year's Eve. So that'll be kind of interesting because I am doing the live stream on the New Year's Eve. And I think what I'll do is, I'll watch it on the iPad, allegedly. I'll watch the game on the iPad allegedly while it's going on. That's a little bit frightening. And then the last game of the season, they're playing the Bears. So they play 2 division opponents to finish off the season. And I guess the question is how you want things to go. If they win out, technically, they still have most of a chance of making the playoffs. It depends on what happens here going in the rest of the way. they don't completely control their destiny. They need a little bit of help, but if they win out, they do mostly control their own destiny. They got to win out to really give themselves the best chance. They can't afford to lose a game mathematically, but it's win out is your best chance. And again, they're in that middle ground. Losing out doesn't really make any sense anymore. It would have made sense like 6 or 7 weeks ago if you really wanted to like shoot for that high draft pick. Now it's like, well, I want you to compete now. Now, if you're gonna if you've gone this far, you may as well try to finish with a winning record. I will say though, my takeaway, I am encouraged. There is a lot about Jordan Love that I like. He's not perfect, but I did like a lot of what I've seen this season, and I think he's earned the starting gig next year. And we'll have to see about that extension because it's tough. After one season, it's tough to. And this season's been weird. Although I'll say in general, we talked about before we started record, this NFL season's weird, man. It doesn't make. By the way, this same Packers team that barely could stop anybody, you do know they beat the Kansas City Chiefs, right? with alleged offensive talent.
Yes.
So do the Raiders.
Yes, but I would say Patrick Mahomes is a little better than Danny DeVito. I dare say it's a crazy take. I dare say that he is mildly better. Danny DeVito's worse. So it's bad, man. It's bad. The point is, it's all bad. Bobbles, it's all bad. It's all bad. All of it.
Well, I sitting here with the ESPN app open. I figured out how San Francisco started the game with a safety. Apparently, Lamar tripped over the referee in the end zone. So
Nice.
that game started out perfect.
So the referees are they're on the take. #fix. In the script. I see how it is.
I guess we got a pick. We got an interception, and then Lamar tripped over the referee in the end zone. So
listen, as far as I'm concerned, I thought what you were doing on the iPad there, I thought you were like, Joe Flacco, looking up some comps, seeing about purchasing Wacko for Flacco. Let's go.
I came right out as soon as it was spoken of and there was trash talked. I was in high.
You attacked the man, Brandon. You attacked the man. Is still scared for his life to this very day.
But did I have a point? Look what the man is doing. You have to put some respect on his name.
Well, I want to see some respect on his name. Let's get a contender auto in the Bobbles and Ball Cards collection. Let's go. Don't make me grab cards from the Chosen Rosen PC.
I'm still debating. I might go above the contenders on it though, because like I told you pre-recording this, I don't really care for the sticker on that card. Like,
1 of 1, Chosen Rosen. Let's go.
And you can have that one.
Yeah.
No one else wants it. It's all yours.
Hey, well, unfortunately, that's not true, Eric. That was an open auction. Somebody actually was bidding against me. I sniped it. So somebody else put in a bid. At least one other person wanted the Chosen Rosen 1 of 1. Rookie.
Yeah, Josh Rosen.
That's okay. Listen, what he decides to try to purchase from the comfort of the couch while he's chilling with you watching the game is his business.
Look,
and you should be a better host. You could have offered the man some chips or something.
I was unconscious. I was
whatever.
Drunk.
So I told y'all in the last episode, and then we discussed a little bit Friday. We've had discussions in the Discord. There's time to make changes and figure out what route to go on as a collector and to just be a collector and not worry about all this other nonsense BS going on out there, right? So before we went and started recording, I said, you know what? I'm going to be a collector. And I took a crap ton of cards out of these plastic thingies and I put them in a generic Z folio. We are going collector mode and putting the cards from the top loaders to the binder so I can sit and read and look at them and enjoy them. So we're on the right path. Hell, I might even fire up videos on the Bobbles channel in 2024. Who the hell knows?
And you can tell he's serious. And you can tell he's serious because look, you went with the soft cover Z folio. Come on, Brandon. Come on. You got to pony up for the hardcover Z folio.
No. I have this was actually little secret. This was last year's Christmas presents. I have a bunch of these. I asked for a bunch of them last year, so I have a bunch of these, and I'm working on. Got a bunch of them working on putting together little collections. So
hashtag card guard. Hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag they're at Target, and I actually like these.
All right, listen, you can always angle for that sponsorship, but you know who is sponsored, Eric?
Who?
This podcast, AMGcollectibles.ca. Since he brought it up, AMGcollectibles.ca, friend of the channel, and we will continue our relationship in 2024 as we take you to looking into the AMG Collectibles YouTube channel, as well as a variety of different things. We've got some potential projects. Look, I don't want to overpromise, but there's a possibility that we may get a fun box break. If that happens, if that comes to pass, then that will be in the AMG Collectibles YouTube channel. Eric knows what I'm talking about. And if that comes to pass, that'd be a fun one. That would be a fun one. But I don't want to promise it before we have it in hand and ready to deliver. But regardless, there will be more AMG Collectibles podcasts on there. And we'll also try to incorporate some other video ideas. I've got a couple different things that I want to work on for the new year with the team. But it'll be a matter of getting everybody on board and on the same page. But since it's the holidays, we're obviously easing into it. We're going to have a chance to have some conversations about it. But regardless, if you haven't already, check the link in the description, subscribe to the channel, check it out because there'll be some stuff on there in the new year. In addition to it, also, we want to thank AMG Collectibles for supporting the channel and this podcast. We got to make sure we get the segue in there, since you mentioned it. And by the way, they have Z-Folio-like products at AMG Collectibles. Just saying.
They have everything for your collecting needs at AMG Collectibles.
Man, it rolls off the tongue. But yes, so you're working on redefining. You're shifting cards out of top loaders, putting them into the Z-Folios. Is it by category, by player? What exactly are you using to sort there?
Actually, what that was a set that I'm working on, and I originally had them in top loaders and had gave the thought of doing the set and grading it, but it's like 132 card set, and I just don't feel the need of doing all that. So I was like, let me put them in one of these, and we'll go at it that way.
Very nice.
So
I like it.
Did you guys get anything good for the holiday? Santa bring
I'm
anything?
I'm in the gift card category at this point when it comes to home. We'll get it's like here's a gift card. It's like one of them is a digital gift card, and then I did get a physical gift card, but I was like, yep, it's gift cards. Now it will be very useful. I will take advantage of said gift card because it is very practical. If you're not going to specifically try to shop, it tends to be gift cards or occasionally clothes. We'll get like a couple sweaters or something. That's usually it's a winter though. But to be honest, it is winter time, so we can always use a couple of decent sweaters to swap out and in the rotation and add those into it. But yeah, it tends to be really boring stuff. The exciting stuff is unfortunately those days are kind of gone as far as it being an exciting Christmas morning type thing. Oh my God, that's why we open them at midnight now. It's like are you gonna wait until Christmas morning to open? Oh my God, a sweater! Oh my God, a gift card! It's exactly what I always wanted. Oh,
I got some Bruins car seat covers. I got two in not engraved. They're not engraved, but they can, the dishwasher safe. The pitcher won't wash off like everything else. I got a couple of pint glasses from the TV show Letterkenny. With
are they etched like the frosted etching?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. So they're really cool, and it has the they always drink the same beer. This pretend beer that's for the show, and so
mostly Canadian.
No, the poppers, the poppers.
No, that's a joke for my Canadians. Oh. You said pretend beer, and I said mostly Canadian, and then my Canadians will know.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool, and I got a few other small little trinkets, but the days of opening up like really exciting things, I think has passed many years ago. Now it's if I want something, I go out and buy it myself.
Well, I was about to say, I think the problem, and I think what wrecked the whole thing, that is why, in much the same way that Halloween was kind of wrecked. I know a lot of people really love Halloween, and I enjoy making it the holiday spooktacular. I like kind of playing into that a little bit. But the reality is that I think what kind of wrecked Halloween is like, look, listen, y'all do it for different reasons. I was in it for the candy. And as soon as I could just buy the candy my damn self, I'm like, wow, this is a far more efficient way for me to get what I want. I don't have to even pretend. No, it's like Carlos. No, there'll be no costumes. Why? Because it was a medium to get to the candy. And if I can get the candy, then I don't need the fucking costume, bro. I don't need to do any of that shit. I just go buy my candy. Done. And it's Christmas, same thing. It's like, look, like something like this would be like a perfect thing that would be like, you know, of a Christmas, like, but I bought this for myself. It was on sale and I had a coupon and I was able to get a nice discount on it. So I was like, and I had a couple of the Fanatics bucks or whatever they call it. Praise the Fanatics overlords, you know, send the check. But the point is that I had all that as discount, stack on discount. So I was like, all right, cool. So I like to buy one piece of like Packer swag every year. And I was like, all right, so this year it's going to be this one because I like the old logo and everything. I'm a big fan of that one. So I was like, okay, cool. But I was able to get stack on discount on discount. This could be like a thing if you go on Boxing Day or something. Maybe they'll have a discount like that. But it'd be a situation like, oh man, a thoughtful gift that I directed you towards by literally saying, you know, it'd be really great if I had one of these.
Yeah.
I don't know if that meets Brandon, help me out on this. I don't know if that really meets the spirit of Christmas. It's the thought that the thought of me telling you exactly what I wanted.
Well, so you both made the point, like we're all at the age where the excitement of not knowing what Santa's bringing under the tree or whatever, that's there. But me and her kind of use it to, even though it's like you go out and buy whatever the hell you want, we use it for that time to splurge a little bit on each other or whatever. And it was funny you mentioned if you want something, you just go out and buy it, because she had told me to buy something because I was seeing it, and she was like, just buy it. And I was like, not right now. You know, I'm always that type. Nah, not right now. Put it off. Well, I didn't know she ordered it. And then I found one that was at a price I was okay with paying. So then I bought it. So now I have to return one. So yeah, that's where we're at, you know.
You better return
the stuff down there. What's that?
You better return the one that you bought, not the one she bought.
Well, actually, see, how do I put it? The one I bought was cheaper. So
you just switch tags and lie. You just switch tags and lie.
She already knew. She already knew.
In fairness, though, this story kind of goes back into our long-running joke about Brandon being cheap, and I kind of want to think back to several years ago. It's like, this is an improvement, because back in the day, it'd be like Mrs. Bobbles like encouraging you. It's like, look, just buy it. Just buy it for yourself. Treat yourself. It's like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm getting the supersized fries. We're going for it. We're going big. Supersize me, sir.
No, it's completely true. Speaking of cheap, the price difference in the one she ordered and the one I ordered is probably about $3, but why not send that one back and save the $3, right?
Shame on you. It wasn't 30. It wasn't 300. It was 3.
That was a couple bucks.
No, you're just a horrible human being.
No, she already knew that I had ordered it because I told her that I ordered it.
Yeah.
What I didn't know is that she had already ordered it. My point to this is we just use it as a day where we're gonna buy whatever the hell we want anyway, but then we just claim that it's gifts from each other. So you know, it's just the day to use the excuse. So but yeah.
Bless you for that. I don't have the patience. I don't have the patience anymore. I'm just like, look, if I have the means and I want it at that point, I'm just buying the damn thing. Be it February, March, June, whatever. So by the time we get to December, it's like, what do you need? I kind of already got it.
Well,
I got 3.
In fairness, I told her I just wanted socks. Like, that's all I wanted was a new pack of socks. That's all I wanted. And then, no, you got to get, and I wanted to buy her stuff. And so then she felt the need to kind of make it equal, you know. And so then she had to buy stuff. And I just wanted freaking socks and comfortable, new, fresh socks.
I get them every Christmas. It's a kind of a running joke that Christmas is not over until I get socks. And they switch up who's going to get them for me every year. And it was Mom this year, and she got my 12-pack of ankle black Adidas socks. That was the best gift I had.
Yeah, it's nice putting on that fresh pair of socks.
Oh, they're the best.
Feels great.
You settled into the Carlos Senior part of your lives, and that was the running joke for many a year. Nowadays he needs the compression socks because the of the medications he takes and everything. So I told him, I said, well, so then you can't really use the regular socks. He goes, no, it has to be these special compression socks for my purposes and everything. I go, well, do you want me to get you like a picture of black socks? Because I can get you a picture of the old, I get you like a picture of the package so that you could relive the old days where we used to get you the black socks. And he goes, yeah, probably. I was like, you got it, old man. You got it. Whatever you need to do to live the dream, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make it happen for you.
You're a good son.
I do what I can. I do. Look, you know what Carlos Sr. actually got for this year's Christmas? So like I said, for the most of us, it was gift cards and that. Very practical things, whatever. My dad got two things. He got a wallet that has RFID protection, like an RFID protector, which is a very smart, practical gift.
Yep.
That's a very smart, practical gift. You do not want credit card fraud on your watch. Hey, that's good. And then the second thing was my mom got him a label maker. Now, guess who gets to help him set up his label maker so he can work on his phone? So what happens as I joke is like, so you basically just want him to make a bunch of labels to say mine, and then he just sticks in all kinds of stuff. And I go, that's what's gonna happen. But so Christmas morning was Carlos setting up Carlos Sr.'s new label maker and making sure it's configured. And the first thing I print off is mine. He goes, perfect, I'll use that. Boom, sticks it on the first thing. And now it begins.
On the remote.
And now it begins. And I go, best of luck to you. Merry Christmas. Good day.
I'm going back to my house now.
Hey, my mom is the one who bought it. My mom's the one who bought it. So everything that happens from here, that is on her. She made that decision. She's the one who said, I need you to set it up for him. If that is what you wish, very well. I will set it up for you.
Like in the Princess.
That was my job.
As you wish.
As you wish. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest gifts my daughter likes to give, like now that she's doing salon work and haircuts and stuff, her new thing has been, and obviously like I have no damn hair to get a haircut, but she gives out to those in the family who she has been doing the haircuts for free, like coupons, right? And so since she can't give that to me, she asked my wife, she's like, do you think he would like a coupon for us to go out on like a dinner date or a lunch, like me and you go out and do just mommy-daughter things sometimes?
Oh, that's
My wife's
awesome.
like, heck yeah, he would love that. So I got a card and it said, keep this card for us to go out to dinner anytime you want and I'll pay for it. And I was like, that's all I need. Just
you were like sold. Sold.
Yeah.
If my
Like she didn't even got to pay for it,
that
just
would've
the time. So yeah, that was a good gift. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Nice. I think that's fair. I think it's one of those things where, like I said, it's what you make out of it. I think to put a button on this, it's kind of what you make out of it. We're different variations of the same theme. It's like it's very rare at this point. Like that's why when we did the live stream and I talked about it, I knew that there were so when Brad and Sherry and the AMG team and everything, I knew that they had one of the cards, and Brad had alluded to one of the cards. It was where they threw in the action figure where they caught me where they surprised me because it was in the box, and I was like, "What the heck?" Literally, what's in the box? and I was like, "Okay, what the heck?" And then when I saw it, I thought, "Hey, you know what?" It's like I appreciate it because you got to know about the Dennis PC. You got to be paying attention a little bit. So kudos to them. It's a fun little thing. And I did the video that actually dropped on the channel tonight, where I included those pickups because I was like, I document all the pickups all the way along the way. So in the spirit of making sure I did that, I thought I had all the mail days, although I realize now that there's one eBay seller that's actually based out of Canada. So there's an outside shot. I may get that before the end of the year. We still have a couple of days left that may qualify. So maybe it wasn't, but either way, I wanted to make sure I documented it as part of the year end. But it was nice. And now the good doctor is now in position in the display. For the pickup videos. So it is on the table. Very important. We got to make sure we work on that. So the display got a refresh for late 2023, early 2024. It's very exciting. Very exciting.
I think this room's going to get a little makeover for 2024.
Do you think the life-size Joe Flacco standee might be a bit much?
I mean, no.
Yeah,
but
yeah, good.
Like,
just want to make sure. Look, I asked the question. I just asked the question. I just posed the question. Whatever works for you. If that is the answer that you want to go with, I'm good with it. But I'm just saying, it's like bit much. You know, semi-shrine.
I think it would work in that corner back there.
Yeah,
maybe.
Okay. I think if you leaned into it, it'd be hilarious. I think you could have like a Soto thing on one side, you could have the Joe Flacco thing on the other, and who's the other one? Victor Robles.
I have Michael Taylor, Robles. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's Michael Taylor. That was the one. That was what I
Yeah.
was thinking of. So there could be Flacco, Soto, Taylor, the Holy Trinity of Bobbles and ball cards. Oh wait, sorry. Actually, you might have to
Robertson.
replace one of them with Jason Robertson. Yeah, you might have to replace one of them with Jason
I
Robertson.
was gonna say you forgot the current man.
Yeah,
I did
forgot to do
Dallas
Trinity.
Stars.
So you know what?
did get a
I'm
Dallas
sorry.
Stars
I think
throw
Michael
blanket.
Taylor's got to get knocked off. Right now, Flacco is on the ascend. Soto's doing his thing. I think it's got to be Soto, Flacco, and Jason Robertson. I think it's got to be J-Rob as the third spot.
Yeah, and hopefully they all. I don't even want to jinx it. Never mind.
I gotta be very careful. Like, look, you're already trying to play this narrative of he's saving it for the playoffs, you guys. He's saving it for the playoffs. It's all part of the plan. So I'm speaking of Jason Robertson and Bobbles, Jason Robertson pump that we've spoken up many a time. So he's saving it for the play. He's saving his energy at the prime range of 24. He's got to pace himself. That's what it is, you guys. That's what it is.
Well, I mean, he's seen Connor McDavid put up these insane numbers in the regular season and then peter out in the playoffs. I mean, he's using his logical thinking that if he just does enough in the regular season, that maybe in the playoffs it will help out and have some success. We'll see how it goes. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not
You don't
saying it's there yet, but
you don't want
we'll
to tie
see how it
yourself out
goes.
too much during the regular season. I mean, look what the Bruins did last year. They were exhausted.
Well,
Just
actually,
saving
I
it
think
for the
I think you're
playoffs, you know?
I think you're thinking about this the wrong way. The Bruins have taken it to another level. This is
yes.
this is not like one level. No. This is not like Milt Schmidt, Ray Bork, Bobby Orr, allegedly. We're talking Hal effing Gill level. We're taking it to another tier. SP Signature Legend tier. What the Boston Bruins did is they actually played the regular season. Oh, you think record-breaking regular season? They wore themselves out. No. That was them taking it easy and then taking it even easier in the playoffs. So that this year they'll play good in the regular season. So this is like a 2-year plan for them. Last year was just to mess with everybody to get them into a false sense of security. They're like, you see, we suck in the playoffs. Don't pay attention to us. Do not look at the man behind the curtain. It is not us. And then, bam!
I think they've lost. I think they've lost their last 4 games. So I think
that's what I'm saying. They should lose many more games down the stretch to really fool everyone into the ultimate false sense of security. And when the least suspected, pow! Hal Gill right in the face.
Hal Gill right.
I will say the missus is kind of upset this year. She was very excited and her fandom and the Kraken fandom was all wild and crazy. Right. And this year they've not looked so well. So she's been a little upset about that.
Just got to get in the playoffs. That's all that matters.
Well, look, I joke about it, but that's the truism with hockey. A lot of folks worry about. Look, I'll put it this way. The thing with the Dallas Stars, so Brandon's on the bandwagon obviously because of J-Rob and everything the last several years, but going back as a Dallas fan since the mid-90s, before they actually, right before, my timing was good, but I wasn't like the season before they got the Stanley Cup, but they were on the ascent. The team was clearly improving. Like it was showing signs of being good, but they were on the cusp. The year they won the Stanley Cup, they won the President's Trophy, and everybody was worried, oh my God, you won the President's Trophy curse and the whole bit. That was a thing at the time. Well, they won the Stanley Cup with the President's Trophy. If you're that good at team, you're going to win. You'll find a way. You'll need, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't like they swept everybody en route, and they were playing the Western Conference where I joked about it before and talked about it. Late 90s Western Conference hockey. You had Dallas with Hall of Famers, again, Modano, Neuendijk, Brett Hall. You had Ed Belfour. You could literally go through, and there's a couple that actually I'm missing, but there's a couple more that are in there. And you go look through the lineup, I'm like, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer. So you're seeing all these Hall of Famers, right? Go look at Detroit. Iserman, and all, like, you've got all these great players over there, Hall of Famers. And then Colorado, Patrick Waugh, Peter Forsberg, Joe Sakic. Like, you're seeing, and these are like these super teams, and they're all in the same conference. Only one can get to the Stanley Cup Finals, so they're out there bludgeoning each other over there. And by the way, the second tier teams, Dallas's hardest playoff series for many years was Edmonton, because they'd fight Edmonton tooth and nail, and they kept running into them in the first round of the playoffs. And it's like, oh, Edmonton. It's like, but Edmonton fought them hard, and they had to fight them every single time. So it wasn't like there was no easy task all the way along the way to get to the finals. And then by the time you got to the finals, you were battle tested. So every single one of the Western Conference teams in that era, they got to the Stanley Cup Finals, they had to fight. I make the joke about the analogy is Leviathans, the old school Leviathans, mythical beasts fighting each other for the right to be at the very end. And then whoever came out of the East, you were probably fresher. You still took your lumps, but it wasn't like that. But nonetheless, those Western team was also battle tested. They were scarred, but they were tested too. So only really New Jersey was the only one who really gave those guys a fight, because they were a great team who could have been in the Western Conference with their quality, but they got to be in the East, which was much, much less painful task back in those days. And I think that's fair, Eric. I'm not being unfair here.
Oh, no, you're 100%. I can't argue with any of those points.
So you have to think, Brandon, like back in those days, man, it was me, the Detroit guys, and the Colorado guys arguing about every one of those teams. And you had Hall of Famers on every single one of those squads. The Detroit Red Wings at one point had 3 600 goal scorers. Like, it was stupid. It was stupid how good these teams were. And year after year, you were fighting them to get to the right. So if you made it to the Western Conference Final, it was impressive. If you hung in there in the Western Conference Final, it was impressive. And if you got past that to the Stanley Cup Final, you had a pretty good shot of winning almost every year, every time out, if you got out of the West. But it's not the same today. But the point is, you got to get in the tournament. You get in. The only way you can win is getting in the tournament. So I don't care if you're number 8 or you're number 1. You got to get in the tournament, because I've seen 8s knock off 1s so many times.
Last year
happened, yeah, but it's happened a million times since then. Before that as well. Like it's common.
It's a whole new season. It's a whole new season.
Yeah. So it's like, being first is great and all, but you don't get a bye. There's no bye. You still have to play a team. So it's like, all right, hopefully you're up to task, because you're going to get beat up every round all the way along the way. And it's whoever can survive. It's attrition.
Yeah, that's why it's the best playoffs in professional sports. I mean, 7 games, you have to go through all those. You need 16 wins, to win the hoist the Stanley Cup, and it's just brutal.
I heard pickleball and cornhole was like contesting that theory that hockey had the best playoff.
They're working.
I haven't seen the results yet, though.
They're close. They're close. Maybe next couple of years they may overtake them.
I think what we need to. I know. I secretly want cornhole to become a thing. Like, I mean, really, no, like really become a thing to the point that it's aggravating. And you just see it on TV. Oh my God, professional cornhole league, and
they have those.
It is on
TV. But I want it to be obnoxiously in your face. I want them to preempt like a hockey game for cornhole.
Oh,
it's like, guys, we gotta put cornhole
on Christmas Day. 3 Monday night tournaments on Christmas Day.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Like taking Christmas Story off TBS, and it's just cornhole.
Oh God, yes, please. Oh yes.
You know what channel should show? What channel we need for that to be shown? Not the Ocho.
Listen, I'm all about the Ocho.
I love
all about the Ocho. Love it. Fantastic. Wow. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Listen, I'll have you know, the Ocho is where all the great content goes. I'm looking forward. I've been pitching at the upfronts. By the way, folks, as I said, this episode is literally just riffing nonsense. So we're just gonna have some fun. We're gonna riff some nonsense on the holidays. This is a holiday.
Hashtag the Ocho.
That's right. Hashtag the Ocho. But look, I gotta say, I'm looking forward to. I'm pitching for the upfronts. I think it's gonna be, Man versus Food. I think that's a YouTube channel, Man versus Food. Yeah,
yep, I'll watch him.
Yep. So here's the thing. I don't want to do Man versus Food. I want to do Eric versus Mayo. And literally the show is literally, we put the jar of mayo, we just get it closer and closer, and you zoom in on Eric's face as the sweat starts to drip up. It's like,
you saw what happened in Toronto.
Eric, the point of this contest is that if you can survive the moving closer of the jar, just sliding it closer and closer and closer and closer
Let
and closer.
Let's see, Eric. So here's a legitimate question.
Okay.
On the Ocho.
If there was a man versus food type competition, or what is it, Beard Meets Food, he's a YouTuber,
Mm.
goes in and does these like restaurant challenges and stuff like that. Say there was a local Boston little restaurant that put on a contest. The first person that could eat
Here it comes.
I don't know, we'll go 8 ounce. We'll go just a respectable size, but not too small, not too big. 8 ounce jar of mayonnaise,
Mm.
and it would get season tickets to the Boston Bruins.
I don't want them.
I like right next to the ice, behind the bench,
No.
and a Bruins
No.
Stanley Cup victory.
Nope.
Wow.
So you're
really?
throwing
The
the
Bruins
fandom
Stanley Cup
out
victories are
the
worth
window
dang.
for
Oh,
8
no.
ounces.
wow, the last part.
No.
The last part was
I
impressive.
I would not take a spoonful. No, it is. I'm gonna get
Brandon,
sick right
Brandon,
here.
I gotta be honest with you. I wish you had told me. I wish you had told me this. I would have literally eaten tuna with mayo in it during this whole segment while you were explaining that. I would have literally just sat here and ate it.
Oh,
Hell, I would have put the mayonnaise in it and
Man.
mixed it while you were explaining it, and then eaten it while Eric watched.
no.
Would you wouldn't even attempt it?
No, I can't. No, I don't.
Oof.
I can't look at it.
Ah,
I can't look at it. I can't smell it. I can't taste it. I can't. Nothing. It is demon food.
best Festivus ever.
Oh my god!
Best
I'm,
Festivus
I'm sick to my stomach right now just thinking about taking a mouthful of it. Oh my lord!
I'm really excited about the season on the Ocho. I'm already I'm thrilled. I am excited beyond measure. I think that's fantastic.
Oh,
God. Shall we
That
move on?
surprised me. Like I thought you would have a little bit of acceptance
Team
to
loyalty.
at least the idea. Yeah,
No.
I mean,
no.
like especially when I said the cup, you know,
Nope.
okay, season
Nope.
tickets. We know you got the money to sponsor the like button and everything
True.
else, and buy season tickets, and hell, you probably own like 82% of the arena, so it's probably no big deal with the tickets. But we thought, like, I really thought throwing the Stanley Cup in there might have like enticed it a little bit.
Not even a spoonful. Never mind 8 ounces. No, not even a spoonful.
Wow.
Nope.
That one's interesting.
Nope.
Down the road, Brandon, I want you to bring this up again and let me know in advance that I would literally eat a spoonful of mayonnaise while you explain it.
I'll be done for the night. And I'll be like, I'm out. You won't see me back for the rest of the show. I'll be out in like lickety split.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I like it. Well, we've learned many things. We've learned many things today in this wonderful Festivus season. We've learned many things. All right. So let me quickly pose this question to you guys. We talked about, like I said, we went in a couple different directions, had some fun with it. Let's bring it into I was going to say this for like the year end, but the truth is by the schedule, the next one will be already in the new year. So let's do it actually right now. This will be kind of a fun little rapid fire. Take a moment to think about it, but here's what I want to pitch to you. I want a singular hobby prediction. And I'll give you an example. I'll give you a couple of examples of possibilities. One of them is that we know that there is going to be I won't say no. The high probability is we're going to start getting some results on the Panini and Topps /Fanatics lawsuits. We're going to find out what the landscape looks like as potentially football cards, as the landscape looks like potentially basketball cards, as the landscape looks like potentially WWE. That's another one that they've been contesting over. So we've got those lawsuits that are still being worked on. We don't know what the details are. We know the WWE thing has been quote unquote settled, but we don't know what that actually means. We don't know how that actually translates into products. We also know that we're going to have the Geoff Cards XQ. So I talked about this for the New Year's Eve one. I don't want to necessarily trample on the idea, but I want to get if there is a singular prediction. I'm not talking about favorite story of the previous year. What I'm asking about is a prediction or a thought going into 2024, something related to that, something you're curious about. So I'll present mine. I'm going to focus on the Cards HQ thing. I want to see this live selling happen. That is what I'm curious about. I want to see what that looks like. My prediction is that it's going to be like a lot of things. The novelty will be in the early attempts. I think there will be a really great audience for the early episodes. I don't know if that'll translate to sales, but I believe there will be eyeballs on it because other people will be curious as well. I will certainly be curious. I think other people will be curious. I don't know if it'll translate into enough sales to justify having a shift working at that time period. I don't think Asia or Europe is going to save it. I think anybody that was going to do that would probably have just purchased on it on an online platform anyway. So I feel like it will be, my prediction is that I think it'll be a 90-day experiment that results in it getting scaled back after they try to turn it on. That is my prediction. I think whenever they turn it on early on, I don't think it'll be day one, but whenever they turn it on and really try live selling 24/7 or whatever they consider that to be, I think it's a 90-day experiment before they scale it back and cut their losses and adjust the model. That's my prediction for Cards HQ. So that's what I'm referring to when I'm saying a prediction. Whenever it turns on in 2024, 90 days. I'm giving it 90 days for them to try it and then move on to a different model. Any thoughts? Any takers?
Actually, 90 days would be surprising.
I think Jeff has dug in his heels enough on this. I think he's going to give it 90 days. I think he kind of has to.
Well, there was something that I actually was like deleting off a few apps and stuff I have downloaded that I no longer use. And I could be mistaken, but there was an app I had downloaded that was an experiment of his. And I don't even know if it passed 90 days on it. But does anybody remember that app Hits that he had put out?
Oh, the NFT thing? Yeah, where that like had NFTs of breaks?
No,
is that the one?
I think the premise or the idea behind it was a live thing for where like hits from breaks or whatever was showcased. If I remember correctly,
That's what I mean. It was an NFT. What they were doing is he was trying to market NFTs for the moment of a certain break. He would take the clip of that
and
make it
clip
into an NFT. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. I don't remember the name of it, but it was something like that.
Yeah, the app was Hits because I had it downloaded just to see what the hell it was, and then I realized I never used it anymore. But that one dawned on me when I deleted it. I was like, oh, we were just talking about Jeff's little experimentations the other day, and I don't ever hear anybody talking about this app. So
I think what hurt that one though is when they were originally pitching it. The problem is they're pitching an NFT. However you want to present it, they're pitching an NFT product, and almost immediately the problem with that, you don't have a 90-day window to try. It's not a selling situation. It's, you know, if literally nobody tunes in on night one of the Cards HQ thing, then I could see him pulling the plug sooner than 90 days. But you're going to have, I believe, you're going to have viewership for a little while, for the novelty, for people, for seeing what that looks like, for seeing them attempt it and whatever. I think there's going to be some interest, and I think they may even make some sales. So the point is, as long as he's getting some sales in the early days, at least some, even if it's not enough to cover the cost, he'll be like, all right, let's give it a go for a little bit. Let's give it a little runway. And then they'll probably try a couple of tweaks to the model if it's not selling enough, you know, get the host to do it a different way or move the type of products or make it a theme night or something. Basically, they'll play around with the format. That's what I mean. Like they can buy themselves some time as long as they're still making some sales and they're still generating some revenue from it. I just think the NFT thing died on the vine because there just wasn't interest at all. They couldn't fulfill even the baseline of what they were trying. So at that point, you just pull the plug as fast as you can. That was the difference.
Do you think, and I could see it working if this was a possibility, not to go too deep down the rabbit hole because we've discussed it before, but what about this idea? What if it's not exclusive to the Cards HQ shop, but he does a live selling that is for Cards HQ, but he has maybe an authorized seller in Germany or the UK or something like that, that like the stream is from the shop, you know, a part of the day, and then overseas, because you said he mentioned the overseas aspect of it, he has sellers or a satellite Cards HQ overseas that they pick up the streaming another part, you know, the midnight hours to hit that audience. Do you think that could be a potential?
So you're saying he's got a content network? A content network.
Whoa, or a marketplace network.
I'm just saying. I think it's a model you could try. It goes to an idea that I saw pitched, and normally I love to give credit, but I feel like I've heard in a couple of spots, so I don't remember which one I heard it first. So I apologize in advance. Feel free to take credit for it, but I know I've heard it in a couple of spots. The idea of subleasing space in the shop, and by that I mean effectively a consignment agreement, because you could have people provide inventory, and by doing that, you effectively have nicer stuff without having to put all the cash in. Being like, okay, we'll provide a platform where we will make sure this is visible, people can see it, and then as a result, if it sells through us making the sale and facilitating it, we'll take a percentage. As a result of that, you still get a cut without having to pay for the items up front. So that could be a potentially profitable way of making that work for you. But I think what's going to be tricky is, I guess it depends on how much confidence does our good friend Geoff have at the start. He strikes me as a very confident guy who goes in head first, to his benefit and to his detriment, wherever you stand on it. He's a very confident guy, and I don't think he's going to assume the worst until you show him data that's going to suggest this much. That's the reason why I said, like, I feel like if he has at least some sales in the early days, he's willing to try to scale it up. He'll try a couple of different things. That's why I said 90 days. That's how I came up with that number. It was just, I'm thinking he'll give it enough time, enough runway to either prove the model or disprove the model. One way or the other. He'll give it a shot for the period of time. After that, if it's literally not working, it's like, all right, man, eBay store and e-commerce platform, Shopify store or whatever. And all right, we'll just roll with it kind of like normal and then run the shop. And then we'll offset it by doing the sports card investor content out of it. We'll bump up the sports card investor content, more content out of the store, lives out of the store, giveaways out of the store. Like, there's a lot of little ways that you could kind of finagle the numbers to make it kind of work for you, because you are combining a couple of different things under the same roof. That's why I say sometimes I don't know if people are fully acknowledging that because you've decided to put studio space in effect in the shop, you kind of combine two things. You got the Cards HQ piece, and then you've got the sports card investor piece. Well, you had to pay for space for the offices and the studio and all that elsewhere. You've amalgamated into one space. So whatever you're paying for the lease, you're paying for the whole space as part of the lease. And you've also got this other revenue stream that's already in operation. So there's already at least some operation happening with the content side of it. Then you're combining with it, hoping, you're crossing your fingers and hoping that the shop can also generate revenue on its own. But at least you've got something to offset, is what I'm saying, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So you guys have had enough opportunity. I think we've kind of milked this one. Anybody want to throw a prediction at me? Eric, July 1st, we're going down another 97%? We all getting everything for free?
Well, but I do think by 6 months, 7 months, we will start seeing the difference of what's coming this next year. I honestly believe that the holdovers from the boom that came into the boom, investing and trying to get rich quick from this hobby, I think we're going to lose the hanger-ons that are still around. I think you're going to start seeing other people walking away from this hobby. I'm not saying millions of people. I'm not saying the hobby's going to die. But I think it will be noticeable of how many people are going to walk away from this hobby in the upcoming year. I think that the utter nonsense that is going on with the card companies, we talked about it on Friday, for example, of these backdoor cards showing up, one of ones having multiple copies. PSA is has so many one of ones, or out of tens they got 20 different copies in their database, and all this, people have had enough. And I think the hanger-ons that came to this hobby to make money are going to realize that it's a losing battle. There's too much, call it corruption, but there's too much shenanigans going on. The card companies can't get control of themselves, can't get control of their processing plants, can't get control of anything. And I think the people that came in with goodwill over the last couple of years are finally going to say, all right, this is a shit show. And they're leaving. I think the people that have been doing this for a long time, especially the people that are into vintage, they're going to stick around the rest of their lives. The true collectors, the people that just absolutely, get an adrenaline rush when they find that card in a dollar box that they've been looking for. Those people aren't going anywhere. Okay. But I think that the hanger-ons from the boom are all going to leave. I think there's too much nonsense going on, and they're no longer interested in moving their money around in this climate.
All right. Brandon, you got anything for us? An early prediction? It can be early 2024 or throughout the course of the year or whatever category you think. So I want to get a 2024 prediction from you.
So I gave a prediction 4 months ago that I am actually proud to see that people have been spreading more and more, because I think folks thought that I was crazy when I did the video, one of the only actual recorded videos on the Bobbles channel that I did this in 2023.
Wow.
But my video of Fanatics will not save the hobby, and they will suck worse than Panini. Because I did that video 4 months ago.
A quick disclaimer: if the Fanatics Overlords cut a big enough check, we will completely cut out that entire commentary from this episode. We will show much love. We'll wear the swag. Yeah, whatever. Cut the check. Michael Rubin. Please continue, Brandon. Please continue, Brandon. I just want to make sure we covered that.
We can be.
I came out and I said it months ago, and when it was first announced, what was it? Probably a year and a half ago, I guess, when the announcement was of the licensing, and that they had gotten the baseball, basketball, football licenses and all this, and people were in fear of Topps going away because, well, that's what's everybody's been known since the 50s. And then it was found, okay, well, Fanatics bought the license to Topps. I think they knew they had to, because there was so much vested there, so much history, so many people that brand recognition. Panini's kind of been like, they've been accused of kind of ruining the hobby, and they're pointed fingers at so much with all their parallels and all this other stuff. But you've seen it over the past 4 years or so. Fanatics has followed suit the same way. I mean, all you got to do is look at Bowman and look at the checklist and see all of the different freaking parallels and numberings that they're doing. And then you go and you look at Topps Chrome, and they followed suit there. I mean, how many different Topps Chrome products did we have last year alone? And it's kind of like what Panini does with the Prism line. They do the choices and the fast breaks and all this other stuff. They make a product of a product to create further parallels. And you could see the path was repeating itself with the Topps/Fanatics brand. And I know there's an excitement because we've been cheering for years that we wanted Topps basketball back, because it sucked when Panini was the only one that had the basketball and football license. Everybody wanted that option. And I think that's the key, is we wanted an option. We didn't want to be stuck with the license on one brand of card. We wanted that, take your pick. You're still not going to have that. You're going to have Fanatics do whatever the hell they want to do, printing as many cards as they want, in as many colors, patterns, pixie dust, rainbows, whatever that they want to do. And they're going to continue jacking the price up, because Fanatics is in this for the money. They are a business, a very successful business with a crap ton of money, and they want more. They don't really care about collectors or the hobby. They care about that money that they can create from it, or hopefully create from it. So my prediction, when, if, or whatever Fanatics officially takes over, you're going to see no damn difference.
So Brandon's prediction, pain. Yeah, it's covered. It's covered.
Same
I for
shit,
one,
different label.
welcome our Fanatics overlords if the check clears. Just throwing it out there. Like I enjoy collector's paint too. Schadenfreude. Did I mention Schadenfreude? Big fan of Schadenfreude. Huge fan. Long time. OG fan before it was cool. Just saying. But no, that's fair enough. I think it's reasonable. I think it's always interesting that, and I won't get into another line of questioning. I wanted to have a kind of a fun streamlined episode, so we'll wind her down a little bit on this. But thank you both for the predictions. But I think it's always interesting that a lot of folks, they lament the era of the competition, but I think sometimes forget that the competition went away because the leagues decided they didn't want to deal with the multiple manufacturer model. They could have had it if they wanted to. They could have done a partial license or like a half and half or whatever. The leagues and the players associations had the ability in Congress together or separately to be able to make choices and be able to say, we're going to give you the license for this or a partial license for that or whatever, or we'll give you, you can have half the license, you can have the other half of the license, split 50-50, 60-40. They could have done it 100 different ways if they wanted to. They had that option. And I think people a lot of times look at the manufacturer and blame the manufacturer, but I go, you do realize the league and the Players Association are the ones who made that decision. They made that choice years ago. They said, we're fine with having one. We don't really give a crap, like one way or the other. It's very straightforward. We're getting a check from one. We're got to deal with one. We're getting the terms from one, and we're done.
But I think in fairness, and the reason that the fingers get pointed to the manufacturers is because without the competition, it's driven the manufacturers to be boring as hell outside of colors and serial numbers. Like, there has been such a lack of give a shit in terms of creativity, quality, pricing. Like, there's zero competition. I mean, that's why they get blamed. If they took those licenses for what it's worth and actually cared about the hobby, then they would improve on their product. And instead, it continuously gets worse.
No, I get it. I think what it comes down to, though, and this is a situation where I kind of sit in the chair of the manufacturer and I understand their line of thinking. They're looking at it from the bottom line perspective because we talked about it. I've made, like I said, I'm not in the room. I'm not in the boardroom, but I understand enough from talking to people who are involved in the conversations to know that the budgets of these different sets are such an important part of the conversation for the people that are involved in it. And the back of my mind, I think the whole time I go, the idea that suddenly competition would magically make these companies interested in suddenly innovating and going far outside the box, I think is a good thought. But then I keep thinking, I don't know if they have the finances you think they have to be able to try to play a lot of these games that you think they can play. I think they would still play it safe because they're going to look at Pinnacle. They're going to look at Donruss Playoff. They're going to look at a bunch of these other ones who tried to go wacky and try to go outside the box. They're out of business. Donruss Playoff, Pinnacle, all these companies that tried to do a lot of that stuff, they were bought up by somebody else because they basically ran out of money. So the competition, yes, but the competition also means eventually somebody dies off and then whoever's left becomes the king. That's what competition led to, because these companies cannot both be innovative and profitable. If Pinnacle had been profitable in 1998, they wouldn't have gone out of business almost immediately after. 97, 98 was for hockey side. I'm just looking at hockey. Me personally, 97, 98 was probably like the pinnacle of, pun intended, products, designs, ideas. They had all the Pinnacle products in 97, 98 I loved. There was no 98, 99 Pinnacle. It didn't exist. They were dead.
But you have to, I think in that, and I get what you're saying, but in that spectrum, you're comparing companies that came in and attempted to be creative without the budget to do so, and were competing against long-standing manufacturers that had that. Just like we talked, just like I mentioned, everybody freaked out when Fanatics got the license, thinking the Topps was going to go away. Oh, God forbid, oh, thou holy Topps was going to go away. So when you come in as Pinnacle, you're competing against oh, holy thou Topps. And, you know, that alone is trying to climb an uphill battle.
It is, but you got to remember when Fanatics bought Topps, remember what Fanatics bought Topps for. I think it surprised some people how little Topps was actually worth when it came time to purchase them, because all they had to do was pull the license out from under them, and Topps was basically worthless. Not worthless in the grand scheme of dollars and cents, the average rank and file person, but you're thinking in the back of your mind. Look at it this way to refresh everybody's memory. Right before Fanatics bought Topps and before they snookered the license out from under them, just before that, Topps was on the cusp and almost done with getting into what was called a SPAC. If you guys remember that, there was going to be a SPAC, this company, amalgamated public company that Topps was going to be, that was going to make them $1 billion company. The SPAC was going to make them $1 billion company, which means they weren't $1 billion company before that. All those years of legacy, all those years of history, all those years of tradition, and Topps somehow, through one boom and before another, and even in another, wasn't able to be $1 billion company on their own. They were not $1 billion company. They couldn't get to $1 billion. And that's with having the dominance in the baseball. They were the exclusive baseball licensee for years leading into that. And they still couldn't become $1 billion company. And what did Fanatics do? All they did was take the license out from under them, and all of a sudden Topps was worth pennies on the dollar. The SPAC fell apart immediately. You don't have any value. And we've seen this happen before. I'll give a quick analogy just so that we're on the same page. Talk about my wrestling thing that I always enjoy talking about. I promise the segue will be short, but you'll get my point. WWE and WCW, they were the two competitors in the space. WCW is a very viable competitor owned by Turner, who had plenty of resources. And Turner was able to make them into a power for a period of time. And they were a legitimate competitor. WWE, the Monday Night Wars, that entire period. Well, at the very tail end, when basically Warner gave up and threw up the white flag and said, we're done, Eric Bischoff had a media group that was going to buy WCW. The deal was done in principle. But what happened is Turner said, oh yeah, you can have the license, you can have all the names, trademarks, and brands, you can have all the things related, everything, you can have the ring, you can have the turnbuckles, you can have everything WCW owns, including all the previous contracts. But by the way, the TV license, the actual license deal, yeah, we're not putting you on TV on Turner. And as soon as that happened, the deal immediately fell apart. Why? Because they're sitting there like, well, the wrestling company with no TV is worthless. They were willing to buy the company, and they had a deal in place. They figured the dollar amount and everything. But the idea was that you needed television in order to make that work. What does that have to do with what I'm talking about? Well, Topps has a certain value. The moment I took away your exclusive license and you knew the license was a lame duck and you were about to lose it to Fanatics, it meant that Topps wasn't worth a fraction of what it was worth 5 seconds ago. So the SPAC fell apart. And then all of a sudden there was a little intermediary, and then Fanatics was able to buy Topps for more money than the Michael Eisner and those guys bought it for. But with inflation, they barely traded water. They didn't make money on that deal in the end, comparatively to what they had bought it for.
Which is actually funny, because the money that gets thrown around in the hobby on the individual cards and the insane prices that we see some of this shit goes for. But then when you break down what the company value is,
yeah,
it like doesn't equate. It's like, why isn't the company worth more if they're producing these cards that are investments that are allegedly worth so much damn money? It's because they're not.
But the thing is, it's not even that. I understand what you're saying, but the point that I'm making with giving that analogy and that example is that when the Topps thing initially happened, before Fanatics acquired Topps, my argument was Topps was a poorly run company. They had an exclusive for years and years and years and years and years, and could have made so much money if they had executed it well. And what happened? They didn't. And the first opportunity, all Fanatics had to do was take away the license, and all of a sudden they were on borrowed time. So in the end, they basically capitulated. They bend the knee. Okay, fine. Fanatics screwed up too.
it's very surprising that they're not worth more, honestly, because the online exclusive shit, the Topps Now stuff, the print, the Project 2020s, all of that other stuff that they were cranking out. It's amazing to me that the profit margins on that were way higher than it was.
The profit margins were great. So like the Topps Now and the print on demand, the profit margins are great. But it goes back to what I said a moment ago. I think people assume that these companies were running well. They weren't. Look, I'll put it this way. I'm not saying that Topps didn't make money. I'm saying that they were like a lot of companies were. This is my opinion, strictly opinion piece. I believe that most of the profits went to shareholders and the executives. I think they took the money for themselves and didn't leave the money for the product and development and all the things. They never leveraged money into the business the way they should have when they had complete control, when they had an exclusive for so long that they could have done anything they wanted. They could have printed money, and they chose to make a good amount of money and pocket it, stick it in their pocket instead of actually building the business. And when it came time, that company wasn't as big as they thought. And I just pulled up an article here just to see. The deal includes the Topps collectibles arm, both physical and digital. It's an ESPN article. I'll leave you a link to it. The value of the deal is in the 500 million range. Sources told ESPN from that time from multiple reports. That is a pittance compared to what that company should have been worth if they had run it effectively during the time that they had all that control and exclusive. To think how little money that they had, that's in 2022. That's coming off the boom. And somehow they weren't worth more than that. How were they not $1 billion company already? How was it the SPAC that was going to make them $1 billion company? And they were not $1 billion company prior. That is mismanagement. So Fanatics takes over, and the reality is this: they can mismanage it too. They can all mismanage it. But this entire convoluted conversation, what I'm really getting at, my main point here, is that I think people give too much credit to what the model was before. They look nostalgically back in on the era when we had all that competition. The cards that came out of it were phenomenal. Cool. All the companies that made those cards that you loved are all out of business. Every single one of them is out of business today. They don't exist anymore. All of them. They've all failed. The only ones that still exist are Topps and Upper Deck. And Upper Deck, well, go look at the cup. We joked about it. Go look at the cup. Tell me about innovation. Tell me about value. I'll wait. Tell me. There's still nice cards being made. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. But I'm saying Upper Deck operates within certain parameters. They're still alive because they operate within those parameters. They will extend only as far as they can extend and only as far as the budget will allow. I have no idea what their actual finances are, but I'm just looking at what they actually are doing. And I understand that there is a budget component and decisions are made. Compromises have been made to accommodate the budget.
But hold on. Upper Deck they got like 25 more years worth of finances to cover just with 89 Upper Deck. Come on, man. We know this.
Yeah,
They're still printing that shit.
Yeah. They're not using it on cards. They're not using it on cards. Let's put it that way. So it ain't coming down that path. The bottom line though is like, and I'm being serious about this one. This is 5% more serious. Like I am being serious. Like people keep looking at us like Upper Deck has exquisite. They have all these wonderful IPs, these wonderful brands. They have an exclusive, the autograph exclusive with Michael Jordan. They had the autograph exclusive with LeBron. They had the autograph exclusive with Tiger Woods. So they got all these assets under their stewardship. You would think, oh man, Upper Deck must be killing it left, right, and center. They're doing all right. Don't get it twisted. They're still out there. They're doing their thing. But do you think they can do whatever they want? You think in a competitive environment where they're being forced, oh yeah, like we got to spend like crazy to build all this new technology, all these new ideas to keep up. I really think a lot of these manufacturers would be out of business in like a year if they actually tried to quote unquote compete.
I think it goes back to what you were saying. They were making money. It just wasn't going into the business. They were keeping the books balanced to run the business, and the profits were going in someone else's pocket.
They were making money, but I don't ever
think... Look at the shit that happens.
Brandon, my point is I don't give them credit for being as good at business as a lot of people do. I think they were okay at business. I think if they had been good at business, then I think Pinnacle would still be around today. I think Donruss Playoff would still exist as a separate entity. Their brands wouldn't be rolled into somebody else that actually owns all the IP. It wouldn't be like it is today. There's a reason why there's only a handful of manufacturers left, and they own 3/4 of the IP. All those old sets that you remember, Leaf is not Leaf. Leaf is what Brian Gray brought. It's not the same Leaf. It wasn't 1990s Frank Thomas rookie card Leaf. It ain't the same Leaf. They can show the same design, but it's not the same Leaf. Donruss, that's owned by Panini. That's not Donruss. That's Panini Russ. It's not the same thing. They can use the IP. They can use the rated rookie logo. They own the rights to do all those things. It's not the same company. Pinnacle is dead. Donruss is dead. Leaf is dead. But the name still exists.
Is that the same thing as O-Pee-Chee deck?
Yeah, that's my point. They're all dead. Like all those things they were talking about, they're all dead. They're gone. So it's funny that we operate in an industry, and on a holiday episode, I didn't want to finish on such a wonderful, high-spirited note. But it is amusing to me, in a certain degree, that this entire industry, based on nostalgia, is based on a bunch of zombie brands that have been dead for years. Not dead for like a week or two. Donruss, Pinnacle, the real Pinnacle, the one that I loved, like Pinnacle totally certified. A lot of those products, I love that stuff from that 97, 98 and that mid to late 90s period. That died almost 25 years ago. It's dead. Like,
So
super dead.
I think what you're doing is sharing something that we could dive into in a later episode, because like
That's
you
fair.
just said, 25 years ago, think about that timing, because many of the people, even our age,
Mhm.
that were into cards back then and then might be in today, if you ask most of them, their hobby interests died around that period as well. So that could be part of why those brands didn't survive. So I think that would be something we could dive into in a future episode.
There you go. Perfect. No, but I just thought I would give a little bit of historical context, though. I felt like it was appropriate, like just to summarize my point, and because people may feel like I went in a couple different directions. I apologize, but I was kind of thinking about it as I was talking, and but my point is this: a lot of folks, and I'll summarize it in this way: a lot of folks just automatically assume competition will fix everything. It should, if the competition was legitimate. And by that, I mean, if the competition was in the spirit of everyone is not only trying to compete, but they're trying to thrive in that environment. And if the environment allows for that, that's my point. But when I look at the competition of the old era, we've now had enough time, separation from it. A lot of people look at it nostalgically and ignore the realities of that era. When those different brands were competing in tooth and nail in the 90s and the 80s, they assumed that, that means everybody was eating at the table. Some people chose to eat scraps to try to get a little bit of an edge on the other one. But the problem is, if you're all eating scraps, eventually you're all malnourished and a bunch of you die. And that's kind of what happened, is that when they should have been making money, that's why I say creatively, on a creative basis, Donruss Playoff and Pinnacle were in their apex. The different innovations, the different angles they took. Pinnacle made a set. Sorry, it was Donruss. Donruss made a set based on a post office theme. They were trying stuff. They were going outside the box. Pinnacle did the Dare to Tear. They were trying stuff that hadn't been tried that way before. And they thought of all these ideas, and some of them worked, some of them didn't. But the point is, you talk about how stale it is and how repetitive it is and all that. They were trying shit. You can't accuse them in that late 90s of not trying stuff.
Well, I mean, my point that I'm getting at is we just watched Eric Friday night open a Boston Bruins set that was a commemorative set for 100 years that supposedly had parallels and, chances at autographs. And the dude gets to the parallels. First of all, no offense to anybody at Upper Deck, but the cards are pretty boring. It's the same background with a photoshopped, removed background of a player on the card over and over and over and over again. And then he gets to the parallels and he's like, well, this is a yellow. Okay. It hardly gave any bit of indication that it was even a parallel. It looked like, and what did you say it was $50 for the box?
Yeah.
Yeah, $50 for a box that is essentially a 100-year commemorative team set with a couple cards with a little bit of coloring on it that is on, excuse my, being bitter, but we know those sets are printed on shit cardstock, and it's like, how is that what they're offering at $50? Like, there's nothing creative there. Even the checklist is argued as being questionable. I mean, it just is what it is. It's because they can throw that on the shelf and they know a fan like Eric who is excited over something like that will spend the $50 to pick it up. Whether it's disappointing or not, they're kind of like, here, have this. And you either eat or you don't. You go hungry.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think you're right. Where we could definitely have a more elaborate. Maybe we'll save this one. We'll save part 2 of this conversation for the next episode. We'll carry it over, but I think and this is strictly an opinion. I think that if you told Upper Deck, no, we're not going to buy that, we will not accept that product, their answer wouldn't be to fix the product. Their answer would be to scrap the product entirely and not even do it, because they'd be like, look, we'd rather just spend the money on something else. Then we won't even do it. Forget it. Never mind. We'll wait until the Bruins 200th.
Not to take it away from Eric, but that would probably be the better option for the hobby. Yeah. Don't put shit on the shelf that somebody's spending $50 on.
Yeah. And but the key point though, and I don't want this to be lost in the conversation, the reason why I believe, only my opinion, why I believe that would be the case is because they're sitting there going like, yeah, we only have this much. I think people overestimate how much budget there's actually left to do a lot of the stuff they want to do. I don't think Upper Deck is the Upper Deck that people think it is. And I've rendered that opinion in the past. I think people overestimate how much resources they have available. And Fanatics, for better or worse, has a lot of resources. Whether they choose to spend them or not, they at least have those resources. I think the other manufacturers don't have the resources necessarily. Panini has them. They've done well. They're actually a pretty decent sized company. But then go look through the list. The amount of companies in the space that are left, it's like, it's the conglomerates now. It's the ones who actually have the resources. But do they choose to use all those resources? Not necessarily. But then you could be like, okay, yeah, go to a competitor. They'll be out of business in 2 years if they try to play that game. We'll just increase the price on them. And they'll be out of business. And then we'll buy them. And then you'll still be buying from us, whether you like it or not. Happy holidays.
and you wonder why when I was asked earlier what my prediction is that people are going to leave this hobby, this is just more of an example.
100%.
So there are that's it. I don't predict another boom. I don't predict being Fanatics 10 times in the hobby. I predict that we're going to see more people leave because of the shenanigans and the lack of care.
And on that holiday-filled, spirit of the season-filled bombshell, Carlos is going to be buying some shit off of you at discount prices. You heard Eric? Discount prices. Carlos will be buying some shit off of all y'all at discount prices. But yes, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on this Festivus season. Brandon, Bobbles and Ball cards, 540 flips. He may make a video eventually. Rumors
I may. It's not 2024 yet.
Yeah, but I'm saying eventually. I said eventually. We'll get there. Eric Sanderson Door on Instagram. He will be showing off his soon-to-becoming Hellgale's Super Collection.
Oh, yeah.
Established late 2023 into 2024. It'll be very exciting. We look forward to that progress. I think it'll be sensational. I think it'll be, chef's kiss, fantastic. And I do appreciate a lot of folks that have enjoyed the podcast format over the season. This was more of a scattershot episode. We had a little bit of fun with it. And actually, now that we had that conversation at the tail end, it's like, I think there's a part 2 in our stead. But we're going to continue that in the next episode where we talk about the doom and gloom of the hobby as I rub my hands together. Like I said, I enjoy this stuff. I'm still here. I'm doing my thing. I'm enjoying it. But we'll talk a little bit more about why and also some thoughts about that. We'll hash some of this out, but we'll talk about that more in the next episode. But we're glad, and I appreciate the feedback and everything from everybody that has been enjoying this podcast format and kind of this panel style. So it's been kind of fun to have that contrast. So I do want to thank Eric. Yes, I do thank Eric. And I want to thank Brandon as well for providing the counterbalances and different takes on this to make it a little bit more interesting and to be sounding boards and also to offer their own perspectives on a lot of these components of it.
Before we go, I want to make sure I acknowledge, because I didn't reply. I meant to, and I forgot. I apologize. No, my name is not Bob. Surprise. No, it's not Bob. If anybody would like to know why the name is Bobbles and Ball Cards, my wife, his name is Becky. Mine is Brandon. She has an elaborate collection of bobbleheads, and obviously I present the ball cards because, well, nobody was really using that name, and it just fit the B and B of our actual first name, and then, you know, the two collectible sides of things. So if I confused anybody and led them to believe my name was Bob, I apologize. But he is still actually Eric.
Bob. But yes, we do appreciate that clarification. So again, thank you both for joining me on the podcast as far as the panel format and everything else. And thank you to everyone that has offered different comments and a lot of the thumbs up, because Eric still does pay for those, even on these episodes. Yes. I also want to thank AMG for coming on and sponsoring a lot of these episodes and supporting the channel as well. So I do want to thank them, because this is our last episode for 2023 officially. And then the next episode will be into 2024. So I wanted to make sure we covered that. And do enjoy your holidays. We had a little bit of fun with the conversation at the end, but enjoy your holidays. Whatever it is you celebrate, whatever it is the case. And we hope nothing but the best for you in 2024. Happy, healthy new year for everybody. So we hope nothing but the best. And we will be back. I know the hobby never sleeps. We even recorded on Christmas Day. The hobby never sleeps, and we will be back in another episode. We'll catch you in the next one.